Huge news for Blizzard's new survival MMO. I want to see what this is about, what's going on, and what potentially this game could be or become.
We first covered news of Blizzard's upcoming survival game last year, shortly after the company basically stealth announced the title, posting to Twitter that they were in search of people to join the dev team for a brand new survival game set in a whole new universe. Which meant not only were Blizzard making a new game, they were also making an entirely new IP and taking their first stab at the survival genre. Other than that, official details from the company were lacking, but we did learn much more with time. At its core, it looks like their new project will be sharing many elements in common with other survival games. Think things like Ark, Rust, Grounded, and Valheim. There will be a focus on gathering resources, crafting items, and building bases, a mix of sandbox elements along with both PvE and PvP
this the game?
All of this with the expected Blizzard twist, likely a bit of gameplay polish, as one of the company's main mottos still to this day is gameplay first, and of course streamlining of systems and features. So industry insider Jez Corden reportedly saw the game in action back in 2022, getting a look at some gameplay footage of Blizzard's work in progress, which he said at the time was code-named Odyssey. During a podcast, he went into detail about the game, saying visually it reminded him of both Everwild and Fable. In fact, the words that he used to describe it were fantasy, fairy tale, magic, and a touch of steampunk, all coming together with that classic Blizzard finish. He said the gameplay showcased all of the expected survival features. There were building mechanics with players constructing bases, complex machinery, and crafting stations, all with a bit of that fantasy fairy tale twist. Apparently, there were also even mercantile mechanics where players could build their own vendor stations, setting up, say, a potion shop, for example, where they could craft unique concoctions, which then they could sell directly to other players. And all of the gameplay that he saw was in the first person.
Well, I guess so. This gameplay is not even out yet, right? We're not seeing it right here. Because this is obviously like Lost Ark.
Perspective with a character.
Or Ark Survival, my bad.
Character who is running around using a bow and a little bit of magic, casting a few spells here and there. As for the validity of these claims, in my experience, Jez has been a reputable source. He has leaked a lot of details that ended up turning out to be accurate. In fact, once this information about Blizzard's survival game surfaced, established games journalist Jason Schreier confirmed that the code name Odyssey was accurate. So with Jez having a good track record and Jason confirming the code name is right, I am inclined to believe the rest of those other details, in which case, yeah, the basic structure of the game sounds about like what I would expect from a Blizzard survival title. Now, another thing that we learned last year that gets me personally really excited was this game may very well be an MMO, or at the very least a shared open world, or MMO light. During a live stream, Taliesin, a well-known World of Warcraft content creator, said that he was told Blizzard were working on a Ghibli-style social MMO. Now, Ghibli-style is just referring to the visuals and settings being reminiscent and akin to the Ghibli visuals, which from some of the early concept art that we saw directly from Blizzard, this survival game does seem to fulfill that at least somewhat.
That looks pretty interesting.
But news of this being at least somewhat MMO, having MMO-like elements, isn't all that surprising for me. For one, this fits right in line with Blizzard and the whole industry's ever-growing trend and push towards live service, always online games. Also, there was the job posting for the lead social designer for the game that stated, successful candidates will motivate players to engage with each other in ways both competitive and collaborative, forming new bonds of friendship or rivalry. You couple that with some details we're going to get into later that pretty much confirm this will be a live service game, survival title with these multiplayer elements. I think this basically confirms the MMO light, the shared world nature of the game. And yeah, I read this particular posting as implying that there will be both cooperative PvE as well as competitive PvP, in which case a shared world with other players running around makes a whole lot of sense. And also, I'll add that personally, I don't expect Blizzard to make anything other than live service games for the foreseeable future, honestly, because as they've done with Diablo 4.
I mean, that's pretty much how I'd say 95 to 90% of most game development companies are nowadays. Most game development companies are leaning towards live service games, whereas like mainly like story games, like they have like a prolonged lifespan, right? Most of the time, like, yeah, they've got some replayability, but the money's in live service games. The longevity of it, the lifespan, in the long run, live service games make more money than story-based games that are not live service. But it also depends on how good the game is.
Or always online means always connected to the in-game store, to the season pass, and always seeing other players running around who have purchased in-game cosmetics. That is just where gaming is at currently, for better or worse. But yeah, Taliesin heard from sources that this was a social MMO. The lead social game designer job listing seems to imply the multiplayer shared world. I would not be in the least bit surprised if that is exactly what we are getting. Something else that we know for sure is that this game has been in development for roughly 6 years now.
6 years? It's a long time for a game like this, especially from a company like Blizzard. I don't know, I'm kind of surprised.
This information coming from project lead Craig Amai's LinkedIn page that states he began working on the title in July 2017. Although what we don't know is exactly how much of this time was spent in pre-production, it does seem probable that it's been in full swing for maybe 2, 3, or 4 years at this point. And I say this because as of last year, the game was in a playable state. As mentioned, Jez Corden has seen the game in action. He talked a bit about that on the podcast, but also Blizzard's president has seen and played the game. Back in January 2022, after they announced they were looking to fill positions for the job, Mike Ibarra said that he has played many hours of the project with the team and is incredibly excited about their vision. Now, since the middle of last year, when
I'm excited for it too. I'm usually excited for like any new MMO to try them out at least.
Covered leaks and information about this game, a bunch of new details have surfaced. For one, in December, we learned that the former Far Cry boss Dan Hay had taken the helm as general manager of the survival title. During Blizzard's end-of-year update, it was said that he would be leading the team, which is infusing this genre with Blizzard magic while crafting our first new IP since Overwatch. In that same statement, they also stated that the team size had doubled over the course of 2022, and they would be adding many more positions in the future. Although doubling in size could mean anything when we don't know what the original number was, like did they go from 10 people to 20 people or 100 people to 200 people? We have no idea. However, I am inclined to believe it might be the latter, and they do have a decent development team given everything else that we've heard recently. Specifically, just this past week, Jez Corden returned with some new information about the game, saying that he is roughly 90% sure Odyssey may not have just been the code name, but is going to be the actual working title for the game, or to put it plainly, Blizzard's survival game is going to be called Odyssey, apparently. And he also believes that the game is near completion and will likely be multi-platform. On top of that, he added things like the game doesn't appear to be super graphically intensive, touching on the graphics again by saying that they're stylized, cartoony style, sort of akin to Overwatch.
I mean, that makes sense, especially with stylized graphics. You can kind of get away with a lot more without it being CPU intensive nowadays, especially.
Based on
look at Fortnite.
The early footage that he has seen. But if you aren't that interested in leaks or things coming from industry insiders and you just want stuff right from the horse's mouth, well, we've actually learned a ton from Blizzard themselves. This information has been wide out in the open for a while. There are pages upon pages upon pages of job openings for Blizzard's upcoming survival game on their careers page, and these things are always fun to dig through as they tend to be a treasure trove of information about what the developer has planned, some of which directly confirms all of this leaked information that we've seen from Jez Corden. This is just another reinforcing element for me to believe everything that he said. So let's jump.
Yo, that bullfrog just ate that pixie. That's kind of fucked up.
Right into it. I'm going to take a look at multiple job postings, which paint a clear picture of what they're building here. First up, there was a position for the points of interest lead designer that stated, we need a lead points of interest game designer who wants to drive the creation of outstanding FPS gameplay experiences in the survival genre. The ideal candidate has a deep understanding of FPS content, gameplay, level design, and scenario design. And then it went on to say, we need your help with leading teams to build a AAA FPS first, open world, multiplayer spaces. There is a lot jam-packed in there. First of all, it's a points of interest lead designer, so the game is going to have points of interest. This isn't just going to be kind of a bog standard survival game where you're just crafting and building your own stuff. Looks like they're really planning on designing a lot of bespoke areas. This also confirms that the game is in first person, that it's open world, and that they've got multiplayer.
A first person open world MMO. Okay. I can get on board with that.
Player spaces. Now, multiplayer spaces could just mean like cooperative stuff, but so much is pushing in the direction of this is likely MMO light. This is likely shared world. Next up, we've got the lead building designer who says you will be the vision holder and owner of a best-in-class building experience on Blizzard's upcoming survival game, ensuring it feels amazing to place building pieces that players can realize their dreams of what they want to make, feel clever doing so, and that the result of what players build looks as wonderful as possible. In my mind, this pretty much confirms that we're just going to be getting full-blown base building elements where I don't know if it's going to be placing down pre-established walls and floors or if we're going to be doing everything piecemeal by putting down the individual logs. But either way, Blizzard's making a full-on survival game here, and that
I hope it's not piecemeal. It's just so tedious.
Is going to include all of those base building elements. The activities lead designer position said that you will create a vision that aligns with the big picture. You understand the importance of different combat scenarios in a AAA title and will apply that logic to our ambitious project. Create engaging conflicts in an open world capable of satisfying a wide range of gaming appetites. So there is your confirmation that there will be plenty of PvE combat in the game, as they're looking for someone to design these different scenarios, catering to all sorts of different playstyles. But it goes more and gets a lot more interesting as we go. Lead gameplay systems designer says you will expand our best-in-class moment-to-moment gameplay to also include a host of non-combat survival experiences. What does it mean to implement Blizzard-grade tree chopping? Why is that fun for 10,000 hours? How can players be expressive in their choice of how to approach that
tree chopping simulator
interaction? There is confirmation of the resource harvesting element. We're going to be chopping trees. We're probably going to be mining ore nodes, collecting herbs, all of those elements.
Yep. So I mean,
survival game,
the same thing you do in every survival game or MMO,
are being confirmed. The AI encounters lead designer, I love this one. You will maintain and shepherd the encounters team vision and communicate it to other discipline groups. End goal being to guide the delivery of fun, repeatable player encounters. It later stated you will prototype boss design, proving it out and iterating on it. Boom, we're getting boss fights. But even that, I mean, again, some of this stuff might not be at all surprising or unexpected, but it makes me so happy to get confirmation. And with every new layer, the game sounds more and more interesting to me, including the next one. World Generation Software Engineer. Here it said that they are seeking someone to help build procedural world building tools in a modern engine. Now, when it comes to the procedural elements here, this means one of two possibilities in my mind. Either A, we are talking about entirely procedurally generated landscapes and or maps. Think along the lines of something like Minecraft or Valheim,
cool,
where you create a seed and it just makes a world procedurally for you, or that these procedural tools will be used to flesh out the play space rather than having to craft every tree by hand, for example. A lot of developers nowadays they will basically set up the building blocks of a procedural system, and then they will handcraft parts of the world. But when you're building these large open worlds, many developers will fill things in with the procedural stuff. They'll fill in the grass, they'll fill in the rocks, they'll fill in the trees and some of the elevation and shaping of the world, and then they'll handcraft the more important elements and nature. And maybe one of the biggest confirmations we get from the next job posting for the senior world designer, who will be creating all types of spaces ranging from exterior zones, dungeons, and massive raid-like points of interest, further stating they will also create large to small scale PvP and AI-ready play spaces and more. This is Blizzard's next MMO. This is everything is stacking up. Forget World of Warcraft 2, forget World of StarCraft or World of Diablo. This is Blizzard's next MMO. We got open world, shared spaces,
Watch it be World of Warcraft 2. No, I'm just kidding. It probably won't be. Wouldn't that be funny though? I'm really excited to play this MMO. It sounds like it's going to be neat. How much longer before we actually see it though? It probably won't be about another I'd probably say 2 to 3 years.
player
maximum.
confirmation of PvE, confirmation of dungeons, confirmation of raids. This is it. This is the game. This is, if you've been waiting all these years, think about how many times, if you're a Blizzard fan, think about how many times in the past like 20 years since World of Warcraft came out, how many times have you been like, man, can't wait for Blizzard to try to make a new MMO. It's not going to be a theme park like WoW. They're not doing that. Just forget about it. I do not foresee that from Blizzard. This is what they're doing. This is it. Blizzard's survival game is also simultaneously Blizzard's next MMO. The final confirmation that I want to clear up for you, just so there's no confusion about what to expect from this game, was the position that they were filling for the live ops lead designer. Live ops, you mean like PsyOps? No, we're talking about live operations like games as a service, who will be shaping the long-term content gameplay. You will work with a group of people to build systems, tools, and content that keeps the game fresh and exciting for years to come. And just as I mentioned at the top, I do not foresee Blizzard not making a live service game at any point in the future unless there are drastic changes.
Yeah, live service for sure, and then they're gonna obviously have like DLCs or battle pass system in the future for the game as well, just to keep the content fresh and alive.
Is in how games and the profitability of games are done in the industry. Live service is where it's at. Live service is where the most money comes from, excluding mobile, which is also live service games a lot of times. But anyways, this is actually mainly why I'm excited for this game, because it does not seem like we're just getting a server-based kind of smaller scale survival crafting game. This is Blizzard's next MMO. I don't know how else to say it. I'll just keep repeating it. This survival game is Blizzard's next MMO. Open world, we're going out chopping down trees, doing stuff, crafting gear, we're building our own bases. They got the designing building systems. We're gonna have PvE content, points of interest, we're gonna have dungeons, we're gonna have raids, we're going to have PvP, and it's a live service game. It's an MMO. It's a Blizzard. This is Blizzard's MMO. It's here. It's coming. It's coming. So what is next? When is it coming? Well, I think there's a decent chance that we will be getting more and some sort of an official reveal and details about the game sometime this year. I mean, we've got both the Xbox showcase. You know, Microsoft is in the process of acquiring Activision Blizzard, so this could show up there.
But no longer being showcased to E3, guaranteed. E3 is pretty much done and dead.
But then also, BlizzCon is supposed to be returning in 2023. It's supposed to be happening presumably sometime in November. That's around typically when they do it. So if it does in fact return like they've said it is going to, this seems like a great place to announce this massive brand new game that they've got in the works. Now, I don't suspect them to release the game this year, because Blizzard is typically a company that is way more about leading up to and building up hype for their games. But maybe 2024 is possible if they have truly been in development, as we are led to believe, since 2017, you know, pre-production period, to knock 2 years off of that. So we're talking maybe 4 years of full development. They could be within a year or two of finishing this game. As I learned more and as I started to put this video together, originally it was just like talking about the leaks that were coming out recently from Jez Corden. But then I started going through all of those job postings. Nothing special here. I'm not a private eye detective. This stuff's just out there. But as I went through each posting and reading each description and what content they were looking to hire people to create, it just like laid it all out there for me. It's just like I experienced this moment of transcendence where I was like, yeah, dude, there's no WoW 2. They're not going to compete with WoW. As much as you want to say it's dying, it's still massively successful. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, subscription-based MMO. They don't want to compete with that. They probably don't want to make something even similar to that. Forget WoW 2. They probably don't want to make World of StarCraft. They're going to make an MMO that's just in a completely different direction. And it seems like this survival thing that they're doing may very well be it. And there's just so much potential in there for me. And I think what's kind of rekindled my excitement is affirmation of Diablo 4. You know, however that's going to pan out when the monetization and live service stuff, we'll have to see post-launch how that ends up working. But the gameplay, the game that they're crafting, the feel of the game, and Blizzard's motto of being gameplay first, Diablo 4 confirms that to me, because I'm like, yes, if there was a question about if Blizzard in 2023 could still make the games of a gameplay feel quality that they have in the past, that question is out of my mind, because I have the answer. It's yes, Diablo 4 feels fantastic. Really.
Yeah, I'm excited for Diablo 4. I feel like they're taking a lot of feedback and actually listening to their community about the technical tests for the betas we played. So that also makes me feel kind of good about this game, even though it's a completely different direction. Just knowing that if they care that much about Diablo 4, that they're going to put about the same amount of effort and care into this game. So it'll probably be a good game. We'll have to see.
Excited about the idea of this MMO light survival game from a AAA company and the level of gameplay feel and polish that Blizzard delivers. It's just a lot of potential there in my mind. So I cannot wait to learn more. It's exciting times. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting an official announcement. Probably sometime this year would be my expectation, but we will see. That does it for me today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, if you liked the video, make sure you head over to the page, hit that like button, scroll over, smash that subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notified for future video drops, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.